The narcissist scapegoats. The scapegoat can be anyone. It can be the narcissist's children, friends, partners, family, co-workers, bosses. The narcissist is looking to avoid taking any responsibility for their behaviour by passing the blame over to somebody else. So they'll fail to put the work ethics in, they'll fail to get the promotion, and then they'll scapegoat by using a co-worker, claiming that the co-worker sucked up to the boss, or by using the boss by claiming the boss doesn't appreciate everything that they do for them, because they're looking to shift responsibility over to somebody else. A narcissistic person will fail to collect their children on time and then blame their children's other parents for not allowing the children to be available as and when the narcissist pleases, because the narcissist feels entitled to have everything go their own way. So instead of taking responsibility for their own children, they will fail to do so, yet they'll find somebody else to blame. So if at all possible, they can gain the sympathetic attention and paint the ex in a negative light so that they get away with their behaviour. Narcissistic people, when it comes to the scapegoat, they are going to go all out to shame and blame the scapegoat for all the narcissist's mistakes, faults, flaws, wrongdoings. They're looking to basically pass responsibility over to somebody else for their negative, hurtful, toxic behaviour, so they don't have to take responsibility for it. And when they fail to take responsibility for it, they fail to change it. That pattern of behaviour works for them. They just blame somebody else and they get away with it. They're looking to assign the blame to somebody else. So if there's a family fallout, they're looking to assign the blame onto a family member. When it comes to narcissistic parents, you'll often find children find it very difficult. They're craving that love from their parents. They find it very difficult to cut their parents off and try all sorts of different methods to build a relationship with their parent. They will justify their parents' behaviour for their parents' upbringing, their parents' past, their parents' struggles, because we can all have these things, and they will go all out until at some point they've just had enough and they just can't stand the criticism and the belittling and the blame shifting and the mocking anymore. So they slowly distance themselves, or they cut themselves off from their parent, and then their parent will go all around telling everybody how their child is ungrateful, their child doesn't appreciate everything that they did for them. Narcissistic parents hold a grudge about taking their parental responsibilities seriously. They blame the child for them having to give up their life, even though they're the ones that had the child. The dynamics are all skewed, and the children feel responsible for the parent because the parent doesn't feel responsible for the children. The scapegoat is usually someone who doesn't necessarily conform to the narcissist's demands, or somebody that's just had enough of the narcissist behaviour and will no longer conform to the narcissist's demands. Scapegoats can be extremely emotionally reactive, which plays straight into the narcissist's hands, because they will go all out to provoke, goad, bait, criticise, intimidate the scapegoat to get that emotional reaction, and then they'll stand back and say, see, look at what I've had to deal with. So to the outside world, they've gaslighted the reality of those around them, because the scapegoats have that emotional reaction, and people judge the scapegoat and look poorly of the scapegoat and don't recognise what the narcissist is doing to the scapegoat. Narcissistic people go all out to invalidate, shame, blame, mock, ignore, fall silent on, dismiss, provoke and isolate the scapegoat in order to get the scapegoat to conform, and in order to get the scapegoat to play into the reality that suits the narcissist narrative that they're selling to themselves and to those around them. When it comes to dealing with a narcissist who's scapegoating you, your best line of defence is to stay away, stay out of it. The more you explain yourself, the more the narcissist has already set the story going. So you're just digging a deeper hole. If you stay out of it and move on to your new life, the narcissist will then turn to somebody else for their main source of supply, and eventually that supply will become the scapegoat, and they will realise in their own time that you were never the problem. The narcissist, however, they'll still go around blaming everybody else, because to a narcissist, nothing is ever their fault.